from a massive marlin weighing over half a ton to a monster shark that weighed more than a ton. Here are 15 of the biggest fish ever caught. 15. The wahoo fish. This animal belongs to the mackerel family and is prized by sports fishermen for its speed and superior quality meat. They're known to present a challenge, though, what with the toughness, strength, and tendency to shred wire leaders. In 2005, a teenager named Sarah Haywood was on a family vacation in the Sea of Cortez in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and that's where she made the improbable catch of a wahoo fish. It took around an hour to boat the fish, and all hands were needed to bring it out of the water. Witnesses were amazed at the size of the specimen. Its official weight was recorded at 184 pounds, which became the new world record for largest wahoo ever caught. And that record still stands, and it may well be impossible to break. That's largely because sharks have a taste for wahoo fish as well, and anglers often have to fight them off to claim the catch. 14. Siamese surprise. When a Cambodian fisherman checked his gill net, he got a big shock. Trapped within was a Siamese giant carp that weighed around 220 pounds. The fisherman said he had actually expected to catch smaller fish in an area of the Tonle Sap Lake, which has more shallow waters. After the huge animal was discovered, authorities were contacted to come inspect it. After determining the big fish was likely swept into this part of the lake by strong currents, it was later released into an area with deeper waters. Did you know that these fish are listed as critically endangered due to habitat loss and to overfishing? 13. Giant grouper. An enormous stone grouper was caught in China that was so heavy a crane was needed to lift it. The creature measured more than 4 feet long and weighed nearly 380 pounds. The size of the creature was so impressive that it attracted large crowds eager to take pictures of it. The fisherman said the largest grouper they'd previously caught was only around 56 pounds, so you can imagine their surprise at this one. Reports indicated it would command a premium price when sold to fish markets. Bad news for the fish. 12. Real-life analog catch. Now, a lot of people thought some digital manipulation was involved with this fish when its picture was first shown, but in 2015, a man was fishing in Italy's Po Delta and snared a monster Wales catfish that measured nearly 9 feet long and weighed some 280 pounds. It's thought to be one of the biggest fish ever caught with rod and line. The fisherman, Dino Ferrari, hung on for over half an hour before finally landing the huge catfish. Now, as immense as this specimen was, these creatures are known to grow as long as 13 feet and weigh nearly 900 pounds. After posing for photos with the fish, Mr. Ferrari released the enormous creature back to the water. 11. Just for the halibut. An angler in Norway took 90 minutes to reel in a 9-foot Atlantic halibut, one that was heavier than a wild gorilla. Weighing over 500 pounds, the fish was too massive to haul aboard a small boat. So, 3 friends helped Marco Liebenau tie a rope around the animal's tail and tow it back to shore, where a crane was needed to hoist it quayside. At a weight of 513 pounds, it smashed the previous record for biggest halibut fish caught using rod and line, as recognized by the International Game Fishing Association. Did you know that these fish are among the world's largest bony fish, reaching lengths of some 15 feet and weighing up to 700 pounds? 10. Grizzly catfish. Grizzly bears on average can weigh 600 pounds or more depending upon the region in which they are found. Now, while these animals are not found in Thailand, there was a fish caught in the northern part of the country that had the weight of a grizzly at 646 pounds and measured almost 9 feet long. The fish is known as the MEKONG giant catfish for good reason, obviously. This specimen was the largest catch ever recorded in Thailand and was recognized as one of the largest freshwater fish ever caught, if not the largest. 9. Ginormous grouper. This is believed to be the largest bottom fish caught from a kayak. a grouper that weighed more than a quarter of a ton. The huge fish was caught off the Florida coast in 2015 and did not give up without a fight, even snapping the fisherman's rod in half. But that fisherman, John Black, still managed to lead the animal to shore, where it was measured at 83 inches long with a 73-inch girth, and its weight was estimated at 552 pounds. After its dimensions were taken, the grouper was required by law to be released because that species is protected. Did you know that the world record for a grouper caught by hook and line is a specimen that weighed 680 pounds? It was caught in 1961 in Fernandina Beach, which also happens to be off the Florida coast. Think it's a coincidence? 8. Stingray. Now, what was the biggest freshwater fish ever caught with a line and rod? Well, chances are it was this critter. In 2015, a TV personality managed to create an exciting episode when he reeled in a stingray that measured 14 feet long, 8 feet wide, and weighed some 800 pounds. Jeff Corwin, a TV nature conservationist from the U.S., caught that huge flat fish on the Mae Klong River in Thailand. Corwin said it took several hours, with many of the crew rotating on and off the reel. Analysis showed that the creature was female and pregnant, which helped account for its great size and weight. Now, that catch was later featured on Corwin's show about ocean mysteries that was broadcast on U.S. television. The Mae Klong River seems to produce a number of large fish, because a huge stingray weighing more than 750 pounds was also caught there in 2009. 7. Crazy kayak catch. An angler named Joel Abrahamson managed to reel in a Greenland shark more than 13 feet long from a kayak. It happened in 2014 off the coast of Norway. The fisherman said he bulked up for the struggle by practicing at a local lake by reeling in concrete blocks that weighed some 60 pounds each. Well, he needed that training because he struggled with the Greenland shark for around an hour and a half as he was strapped into a harness that was attached to his fishing rod in the vessel. After finally capturing the beast, its weight was calculated by researchers at 1,247 pounds, and that was nearly 3 times the weight of an old record. But here's the thing, while this is a world record, it is considered to be an unofficial one, and that's because the animal's weight was never recorded on a certified scale. That was actually a conscious choice by Abrahamson and his crew. Greenland sharks are protected from commercial fishing, and such a procedure might have killed that animal, so the shark was later released unharmed back to the freezing waters. 6. Controversial catch. Joe Waldus is a pensioner who landed a blunt-nosed 6-gill shark that measured over 12 feet long and weighed 1,056 pounds, making it the largest fish ever caught in the British Isles using rod and line. Now, its size made it too big to haul into his boat in the waters of southwest Ireland, so Mr. Waldus had the shark towed to an estuary. From there, it was carried by a forklift where it was weighed at a local quarry. The record catch engendered some controversy, though. The animal had to be killed before it was taken ashore, and that prompted many conservationists in the local fishing community to argue the creature should have been kept alive and released back to the sea. Were they right? 5. Kona Coast Catch. While fishing off the coast of Kona, Hawaii in 2015, an angler caught a giant blue marlin that weighed an astonishing 1,368 pounds. The fisherman, Guy Kitakoa, later said it took around 90 minutes to finally bring the marlin to bay, and later it took 7 of his mates to carry the fish from the skiff to a larger yacht. The beast was measured at 12 feet long with a girth of 84 inches. Later, a charter service strapped duct tape to the bill of the big fish as they scrutinized the tail fin. Because the marlin was so big, workers had to use a pickup truck to transport the critter away from the docks, and eyewitnesses say it really filled up that flatbed. Local sources indicated it was the second largest blue marlin caught in the area in more than 20 years. 4. Giant bluefin tuna. Now, you might have heard of this story before because it has become one of the most legendary catches in fishing history. Ken Fraser caught the biggest bluefin tuna as recognized by the International Game Fishing Association, or IGFA, in 1979. Using a mackerel as bait, he brought in the giant fish off the coast of Olds Cove in Nova Scotia. That catch weighed 1,496 pounds, and sources indicate the tuna was the second largest fish officially documented that was ever caught using rod and reel. A lot of experts say this was the catch of a lifetime. And since that record has stood for some 40 years, that seems to be the case, especially since overfishing of the bluefin has caused the numbers to drastically diminish over the decades. As chances are, a catch like this will not be seen again anytime soon. 3. Biggest black marlin. Earlier we told you about a huge bluefin marlin that was caught, so now it's the black marlin's turn. Now this is not only one of the largest marlins, it is also one of the world's largest bony fish. So maybe it should not come as such a huge surprise that a member of the species was caught off of Cabo Blanco, Peru, and weighed an amazing 1,560 pounds while measuring more than 14.5 feet long. According to eyewitness accounts, the huge billfish jumped from the water almost 50 times before succumbing. An angler by the name of Alfred Glassell Jr. set this record in 1953. Now, ironically, Glassell set the record a year earlier with a black marlin that weighed 1,092 pounds, only to see that record broken mere days after his achievement. But with a marlin that weighed more than 1,500 pounds, this fisherman more than made up for that, with a record that has stood for more than 6 decades. Did you know that the battle between man and fish took several hours and was deemed so epic that footage of it was used in the 1958 film version of Hemingway's The Old Man of the Sea? 2. Greater Greenland shark. Remember a few sections back where we told you about the Greenland shark that went around 1,200 pounds? Well, in 1987, one of the creatures was caught off the coast of Norway by a fellow named Terje Nordvelt, and that monster weighed 1,708 pounds and 8 ounces. The creature appeared so massive after it was caught and hanged upside down that it was hard to believe it was actually lured in by a herring. It ranks as the largest Greenland shark ever caught. 1. Biggest fish ever caught. According to our research, the largest fish ever caught was a huge white shark that tipped the scales at 2,664 pounds. Now that almost sounds like a real-life Jaws. Now the caveat is that it's the biggest fish that was approved as a world record by the International Game Fishing Association. The massive beast was captured off Sejuno, Australia in 1959 by a guy named Alfred Dean, who's garnered a well-deserved rep for hauling in huge sharks. He claims it took around an hour to boat the great white using a 130-pound line. Now, needless to say, this was quite a catch, but while this sort of activity was allowed back in Mr. Dean's day, that is not the case now. Today, great white sharks are considered to be an endangered species and must be released if they're caught. Now that said, illegal hunting activities can still persist in various parts of the world.